محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. I'll try to make this as short as possible. Alhamdulillah, many of us are here to at least hear the beginning, so inshallah ta'ala by 2:30 inshallah I'll try my best to finish. We have a lot here. Today I want to talk about the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and what is this concept of Allah's mercy and how can we obtain this mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the beginning I just want to speak about what is mercy, what is the meaning of mercy, and how does Islam, the Sharia, interpret what mercy is. The best way to describe it is how the Prophet ﷺ described it. One day Umar radiallahu anh, he says that there was a captive woman. She was frantically searching for her child, and all of a sudden she found her child and she started to feed the child on the spot. The Prophet ﷺ, he looked at this, and the Sahaba also saw this, and he said, أَتَرَوْنَ هَذِهِ طَارِحَةً وَلَدَهَا فِي النَّارِ. Do you think that this woman would ever throw her child into the fire? The Sahaba said, of course not. She would not if she is able to save. This is important to know. If she is able to save the child from the fire, she will not throw this child into the fire. The Prophet ﷺ said that Allahu arhamu bi'ibadihi min hadihi biwaladiha. Allah is more merciful to the child, to us, to the servants, to His own servants, than she is to her own child. And this is a beautiful hadith because it encapsulates what the mercy of Allah is. And what is it? It is something that cannot be described. It is only something that can be manifested in people's actions and the world that we see around us. One day the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba, they were sitting, and all of a sudden a Bedouin man got up inside the masjid and he just let it loose. He started urinating inside the masjid. And the Sahaba, they got angry and they tried to stop this man. However, the Prophet ﷺ said, leave him alone and let him finish his business. And then he brought the guy to the side and he started speaking to him. And he said that this masjid is not a place where we do these types of things, right? This man was amazed at his manners. Why? Because Bedouins are normally known to be very rough with everybody around them, right? However, and this is that time, right? However, the Prophet ﷺ was very nice to this man. He was extremely nice to this man, to the point where he saw the reaction of the Sahaba and he saw how the Prophet ﷺ was dealing with him. He said, he made a dua, he said, oh Allah, have mercy upon me, have mercy upon Muhammad and no one else. Now the Prophet ﷺ had to correct him again, and he had to tell him, ضَيَّقْتَ وَاسِعًا. You try to restrict something that is way too vast. It is extremely vast. And this is exactly what the Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. وَرَحْمَتِي وَسِعَتْ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. My mercy has encompassed every single thing. In a hadith Qudsi, the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah said, my mercy has overtaken my anger. And we're going to get to this concept towards the end. So when we look at the mercy of Allah in this Sharia, in this beautiful religion of Islam, we find that it is something that cannot be defined. We can't define it. We can only look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it. So much so that Allah Azza wa Jal, He has two names for Himself when it comes to mercy. Number one is Ar-Rahman, the one who is full of mercy. All mercy is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then He has another name, and we mention this all the time in Surah Al-Fatiha, Ar-Rahim. Ar-Rahim means giving mercy. In English, we don't have a verb that says mercy, mercying, right? We always say he has mercy or she has mercy. We always have to qualify it and attach it with another helping verb, right? Has mercy. However, in Arabic, we have mercying, yarhamu, irham. It's too hard to translate it, right? Have mercy, no. Mercy this individual, right? So that there's already this huge discrepancy when it comes to the translation of the language, of what mercy means, right? So how do we understand Allah's mercy? There are many manifestations of it. I'm just going to speak about four if the time permits. The first manifestation is Allah giving. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, and He gives and gives, and His giving never stops. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Rum, Allahu alladhi yursilu riyah. Allah is the one who sends the winds, and these winds, they come together to make clouds. And when these clouds are formed, they start coming together, and they start making bigger and bigger clouds. فَتَرَى الْوَدْقَ يَخْرُجُ مِنْ خِلَالِ. And you end up, you see rain coming from these clouds. Now this right here is Allah. This is something that Allah is doing for the benefit of creation, for the benefit of us. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala were to restrict these clouds from coming upon us and descending upon us, and the rain from coming upon us, then our economy would crash. تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا. We're always in this frantic state of fearing that our economy will crash. That's why you have people who are investors, businessmen, and everybody that's around us, like even our employment, right? If the percent just goes down one bit, everybody starts feeling scared. تَخْشَوْنَ كَسَادَهَا. However, Allah is the one who is keeping it intact, right? This is Allah Azza wa Jal giving us. And He's constantly giving us. Every day we wake up and we see the blessings of Allah and the mercy of Allah descending upon us. We find many ayat that speak about this, right? We find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, قُلْ أَرَأَيْتُمْ. Tell me. Commands the Prophet ﷺ to tell the people, tell me, inform me, أَرَأَيْتُمْ. If you were to see that the sun would never come out. Rather, it would be nighttime all the time. سَرْمَدًا إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ. For eternity until the day of judgment. Who can ever bring light for you? Then He flips it and He says, if it were to be nighttime, if it were to be daytime all the time, who is the one who will be able to bring night for you? And it is from the mercy of Allah. وَمِن رَحْمَتِهِ. It is from His mercy. جَعَلَ لَكُمُ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ لِتَسْكُنُوا فِيهِ. That He made night and day so that you can have peace and serenity. And you can also go out and work for your benefit. Allah Azza wa Jal has set this whole system into place. He's giving us this system for no price, for free, right? He's giving us this whole entire system, and this is all coming from His mercy, right? So much so that even the food that we eat, فَلْيَنْظُرِ الْإِنسَانُ إِلَىٰ طَعَامِ. Let a man look, let a human look at his own food or her own food. The rice that we eat, we take a spoon of rice, and it has so many pieces of rice, grains of rice in this spoon. Just one grain of rice, what has to happen in order for it to be made, in order for it to be created, in order for it to be formed? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a constant state, physical laws in place that is keeping this whole universe intact. Just this rice that sometimes when it's on our plate, we waste it. We throw it away. We don't give it recognition. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to have the sun in a particular location emitting so much energy, right? The rain had to come down. You had to have a very, very specific level of water for the rice to come from the ground, right? This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving us and giving us. And we don't really look at this mercy. This is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to recognize His mercy from the creation. فَانْظُرْ إِلَىٰ آثَارِ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. Look at the effects of the mercy of Allah. كَيْفَ يُحْيِي الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. And He speaks about how the mercy relates into the resurrection of the hereafter. Right? So one aspect of His mercy, one manifestation is that He constantly keeps giving. Constantly keeps giving. Another aspect of his mercy is the fact that he keeps loving us. He keeps loving us, right? And how do we understand love? We understand some of the things that he does for us through his love. Recognize Allah, he says about himself, وَهُوَ الْغَفُورُ الْوَدُودُ. He is the one who forgives the most, and he is the one who loves the most. Al-Wadud, the one who has so much love for his creation, right? Out of his love, he has sent a book, he has sent a messenger, because he recognizes that if we were not to have this book, and we were not to have a role model in our lives, such as a messenger and prophets and awliya, friends of Allah, then we would go astray. We would be doing corruption on this earth. Because he knows our innate nature. Part of it is good, much good is out of it. However, there is aspects that we have, such as greed and jealousy, that we need to cope with. We need to, limit to a certain extent, right? And that's what the message is for. This is why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he describes the messenger himself, he describes the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, we never sent you. We have no reason to send you except for one thing, and that is rahmatan lil alameen. Except as a mercy for every single thing. The first thing he says is mercy, rahmah. So I want you, there's a lot of realms of this ayah that get lost when you try to translate it. So I'm going to go back a little bit. There is no reason. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ. There is absolutely no reason why we sent you, O Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, except one thing, and that is rahmatan, a mercy. Right? Allah negates every single reason and he only affirms one. And that reason is rahmah. Mercy for who? Lil alameen. For every single thing that is in existence. Alameen, it means anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The stars that we're yet to discover. Right? The animals that we are yet to discover. Right? It is the creations and the humans that are yet to come. Rahmatan lil alameen. That is why somebody who tries to learn the message of Islam, the ultimate, the universal message of Islam, somebody who learns it, emulates it, and preaches it, they're considered the inheritors of the prophets. And every single thing on the face of this earth makes dua for the inheritors of the prophets. حَتَّى الْحِيتَانُ فِي جَوْفِ الْمَاءِ. Even the fish in the depths of the waters, in the depths of the seas, they are making dua for this scholar. Why? Because this preacher, this scholar, this inheritor of the Prophet has learned something from the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this light is a mercy. And this preacher is preaching mercy. As a result, the fish is affected by the mercy. The birds are affected by the mercy. The trees, everything is affected by this mercy. It will make dua for that inheritor of the Prophet. This is the mercy of Allah reaching all of us. This is His love that He gives us, right? And there are other points that I'm going to have to look over. Inshallah ta'ala, maybe next time we can go over this. The next manifestation, which is number 3, the first one was giving. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one way we know His mercy is that He gives. Another way that we know His mercy is that He loves, and through His love He has given us a messenger, right? Another way is His forgiving. There was giving, loving, and forgiving, right? He loves to forgive. The dua of the Prophet ﷺ that a person should make in one of the most blessed nights, actually the most blessed night, the night of Qadr, Laylatul Qadr. The one dua that if you were to obtain that night, what do you make? Allahumma innaka afu. Oh Allah, you are the one who forgives constantly. You are the one who cleans up the book of deeds, erases everything that's in it. That's what al-afu means, right? Innaka afuun tuhibbul afu. You love to forgive. You love to erase those book of deeds of evils and sins. This is something that Allah loves to do. So much so, subhanAllah, I mean, it's interesting. If we were not to sin, then He cannot show us this aspect of His mercy. So what would He do? He would replace you with another people, another nation that would sin. Right? This is out of His own mercy because He loves to forgive. Right? He loves to forgive us. Right? وَيَغْفِرُ. There's this one ayah inside the Quran that many of the scholars, there's a disagreement among scholars which ayah in the Quran tells or gives a human the most mercy in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Gives us the most hope in Allah's mercy, right? And the scholars are all split. There's over like 20 opinions. I just want to share with you one, right? There's many. We can go into these. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ash-Shura, وَمَا أَصَابَكُم مِّن مُّصِيبَةٍ فَبِمَا كَسَبَتْ أَيْدِيكُم. Anytime you're afflicted with anything, one of the reasons why Allah mentions in the Quran, He says one of the reasons why is because of your own sins. Because of something that we do ourselves. So what does He do? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows us to taste a little bit of our sins. However, He doesn't make us taste the whole aspect of the sin. Right? He doesn't make us do that. That's why He says in the same ayah, He says, وَيَعْفُو, and He forgives. I'm kathir. He forgives kathir. What does this show us? This shows us that our sin that we never repented from, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes us, He afflicts us with some sort of a calamity, He is only giving us a little bit of tasting of that sin. However, the rest of it, the majority of it, more than 50%, He forgives it. وَيَعْفُ عَنْ كَثِيرٍ. This is a manifestation of Allah's mercy. Inshallah ta'ala, in the second part of the khutbah, we're going to discuss the greatest manifestation of Allah's mercy. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. So we spoke about three manifestations of Allah's mercy. Number one is giving. The fact that He constantly keeps giving us food, water, drink, everything that we have, and much of it is actually lost in the human abyss of forgetfulness, right? That every breath that we take, we don't think about the breathing that we have. It's completely controlled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He can take it away from us. Our hearts that are beating, we don't even have control over that. That is Allah giving us constantly, right? Number two is the aspect of loving, right? The fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us and He constantly loves us all the time. Number three is forgiving. He wants to forgive us. Anytime we do a sin, He forgives majority of it already, right? The greatest manifestation is described in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, in which the Prophet ﷺ said that جَعَلَ اللَّهُ الرَّحْمَةَ مِئَةَ جُزْءًا فَأَمْسَكَ عِنْدَهُ 99 جُزْءًا وَأَنزَلَ فِي الْأَرْضِ جُزْءًا وَاحِدًا. The Prophet ﷺ says in this hadith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He was going to give this mercy, the first thing He did was that He divided it into 100 parts. And only one part He put in this dunya, in this world, this whole universe that's continuously expanding as we know it, right? And 99 parts of it He kept with Him. And He will use that on the Day of Judgment. From this one part of His mercy, the Prophet ﷺ, he continues, he says, this one part is what we see of the continuous mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Continuous mercy of Allah. So much so that a riding animal, like a horse or a camel, will protect its young, will put forth its leg to protect the young. And an eagle or a falcon or a bird will lower its wing over its young to protect the young. Right? That is the mercy that we have from our parents. Right? So this mercy that we're seeing in this life is only one aspect, one part of the 100 parts of Allah's mercy. As for the 99 parts, it is all in the hereafter. The Prophet Abdullah bin Mas'ud said that people will receive so much mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hereafter. So much so that as the reckoning is going on and the judgment is going on, everybody is witnessing this judgment. Iblis is also witnessing this judgment. Iblis, his own heart will start to quiver out of the mercy of Allah, hoping for that mercy. Now recognize, Iblis is destined for hellfire in the Quran. However, what he sees of the mercy of Allah on the Day of Judgment happening constantly to Allah's servants, Iblis is starting to quiver of hope. He's thinking that he's about to get into Jannah himself. However, he doesn't. And that is where the mercy gets capped. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is enormous. It is, and the mercy that He will show in the hereafter, it is the greatest manifestation of Allah's mercy. 99 parts of it will be shown. However, His mercy also has justice in it. As a result, a human being, you and I, we have to recognize this. And we have to recognize we cannot take advantage of Allah's mercy. Allah is very merciful. We use it for our benefit. However, we don't take advantage of it, thinking that, oh, Allah's so merciful, I just heard this khutbah, I can do anything I want. He's going to forgive me. No. His mercy has a limit. We can't take the advantage of Allah's mercy. right? If Allah forgives us and we seek forgiveness from Allah and then He forgives us, then alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us this mercy. He wants to give us this mercy. However, we have to recognize that that limit we should not pass. And even, I'm going to get into the hellfire, this hellfire, it also has various realms of Allah's mercy. It has various realms of Allah's mercy. How so, you might ask? When somebody recites the Quran and they hear the ayat, they hear the verses that speak about Allah's hellfire, the hellfire that the disbelievers will enter, right? They become scared. And Allah says, ذَلِكَ الَّذِي يُخَوِّفُ اللَّهُ بِهِ عِبَادَهُ. Out of His mercy, Allah's mercy, He gives us a small description of the hellfire, such that a believer, such that somebody who recites His book will recognize, wait, I have to motivate myself to do good deeds. Stay away from this hellfire. Do whatever is possible, such that I can be forgiven by Allah. Right? That is the first realm of Allah's mercy. The second realm is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will constantly keep taking people out of the hellfire. So much so, anybody who has a grain's weight of iman, of belief and faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that individual will be taken out of the hellfire. Right? That individual will be taken out of the hellfire. That's amazing. So much so, there's a narration in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take out a scoop from the hellfire and enter them into Jannah. He'll take out another scoop from hellfire and He'll enter them into Jannah 3 times. And then, in another narration, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends upon the people of hellfire. And He says, and this is where we really see the mercy of Allah, right? He comes to them and He speaks to them. And He says, my servants, my slaves, what would you give up to exit the hellfire? And they say, we would give up everything we own, every single thing we have, all the money in our bank accounts, our houses, our cars, every single thing, we would give that up. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replies, He said, I only wanted one thing from you. One thing, and that is La ilaha illallah, believing in Allah. Recognition that Allah Azza wa Jal is the only God, only Lord, and that He is the only one deserving of my worship. However, even that, you rejected it. This is where the mercy of Allah doesn't come upon those people. Right? So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He shower us with this mercy. I want to conclude, last thing, right? How do we get this mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes, you do good deeds. However, we show mercy to others. The Prophet ﷺ said, Ar-Rahimun yarhamuhum ar-Rahman. The people who are the most merciful, Allah, the most merciful, will have mercy upon them. Irhamu man fil ard. The Prophet continues and he says, have mercy upon everybody on this earth. Allah will show mercy to you. He will have mercy to you. So much so, everything we see, the ants, the birds, everything we see, as a Muslim, you are a humanist. You are an environmentalist. You are everything that, any good cause that is out there, you are everything that it is. Because these causes, they show mercy to everybody. We recognize this aspect. As a result, we stand up for these causes. والله تعالى أعلم. اللهم إني داع فأمين. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا إلا قضيتها يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أزواجه وذريته كما صليت على آل إبراهيم وبارك على محمد وعلى أزواجه وذريته كما باركت على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن